Welcome back, dear friends, to the Crimson Academy's course on the World Order of Baha'u'llah. In this next section, dear friends, we'll be covering the letter, the Dispensation of Baha'u'llah. The Dispensation of Baha'u'llah is one of the major works of the beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi, written at a time when both communism and fascism were spreading their influence across Europe. In this work, 60 pages in length, the beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi gives us the basic and doctrinal verities of the faith, which lie at its very core. In a letter of 10th January 1935 to an individual believer, the beloved guardian points out that his dispensation constitutes an invaluable supplement to Baha'u'llah's Book of the Covenant and Abdu'l-Baha's Will and Testament. It is worthy of note that the beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi states that the Will and Testament of Abdu'l-Baha itself supplements the Kitab Aqdas in matters related to the world order. Of such importance is the dispensation that Rui Khanum in the Priceless Pearl relates that the beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi had remarked more than once that he considered he had said all he had to say in many ways in the dispensation. To many pilgrims, including hands of the cause, he stated that his dispensation should be regarded as his will and testament. At the very outset of the document, the beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi states that he intends in his letter to lay special stress upon certain truths which lie at the basis of our faith and the integrity of which it is our first duty to safeguard. These verities, if valiantly upheld and properly assimilated, will, I am convinced, powerfully reinforce the vigor of our spiritual life and greatly assist in counteracting the machinations of an implacable and vigilant enemy. The purpose of this remarkable document is for the believers to attain to a clear understanding of the unique stations of His Holiness Baha'u'llah, the Blessed Bab, and His Holiness Abdu'l Baha. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi describes these three figures in the following paragraph, dominating the entire range of this fascinating spectacle, the mysterious workings of God's revelation towers the incomparable figure of Baha'u'llah, transcendental in his majesty, serene, awe-inspiring, unapproachably glorious. Allied those subordinate in rank and invested with the authority of presiding with him over the destinies of this supreme dispensation, there shines upon this mental picture the youthful glory of the Bab, infinite in his tenderness, irresistible in his charm, unsurpassed in his heroism, matchless in the dramatic circumstances of his short yet eventual life. And finally there emerges, though on a plane of its own and in a category entirely apart from the one occupied by the twin figures that preceded him, the vibrant, the magnetic personality of Abdu'l Baha, reflecting to a degree that no man, however exalted his station, can hope to rival, the glory and power with which they who are the manifestations of God are alone endowed. And dear friends, this was from The World Order of Baha'u'llah, pages 97 to 98. Dear friends, the first section of this letter is the citation of several excerpts from the writings of the central figures of the faith to disclose to the reader the sublimity of this unique cycle in the world's religious history. In explaining the station of Baha'u'llah, the beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi makes it very clear that the manifestation of God and the divinity attributed to him should not be confused with the idea of divine incarnation in the person of the manifestation. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi categorically states that invisible yet rational God, who, however much we extol the divinity of his manifestations on earth, can in no wise incarnate his infinite, his unknowable, his incorruptible, and all-embracing reality in the concrete and limited frame of a mortal being. Indeed, the God who could so incarnate his own reality would, in the light of the teachings of Baha'u'llah, cease immediately to be God. And dear friends, this is from the World Order of Baha'u'llah, page 112. This belief, he maintains, should never be obscured, and its integrity no one of his followers should allow to be compromised. The last part of the section dealing with Baha'u'llah quotes from the writings to indicate the oneness that unites all divine revelations, their continuity and progressiveness, and the fact that Baha'u'llah, despite the vast range of his dispensation, repudiates the claim to be regarded as the final revelation of God's will and purpose for mankind. And then the next section considers the station of His Holiness the Bab. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi writes, "Indeed, the greatness of the Bab consists primarily not in his being the divinely appointed forerunner of so transcendent a revelation, but rather in his having been invested with the powers inherent in the inaugurator of a separate religious dispensation, and in his wielding to a degree unrivaled by the messengers gone before him, the scepter of independent prophethood." This forthright statement is substantiated by him with several quotations from the writings of Baha'u'llah, the Blessed Bab himself, and Abdu'l Baha. The third section discusses the distinctive station of His Holiness Abdu'l Baha. The beloved guardian writes, "It would be indeed difficult for us who stand so close to such a tremendous figure and are drawn by the mysterious power of so magnetic a personality to obtain a clear and exact understanding of the role and character of one who, not only in the dispensation of Baha'u'llah, but in the entire field of religious history, fulfills a unique function. He towers, in conjunction with them, Baha'u'llah and the Bab, above the destinies of this infant faith of God from a level to which no individual or body ministering to its needs after him, and for no less a period than a full 1,000 years, can ever hope to rise." And dear friends, this was from World Order of Baha'u'llah, pages 131 to 132. Dear friends, a series of quotations follows from the writings of Baha'u'llah to support his statement The beloved guardian goes on, he ends the section by asserting that the belief of some early Western Baha'is to the effect that Abdu'l Baha was the return of Christ, and that he and Baha'u'llah possessed the same station and reality, was completely erroneous. Such an identity applies indeed to the Bab and Baha'u'llah themselves. The final section of the letter deals with the administrative order and its twin institutions of the guardianship and the universal house of justice. In describing its significance, the beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi writes, "This administrative order, as it expands and consolidates itself, will no doubt manifest the potentialities and reveal the full implications of this momentous document, the Will and Testament of Abdu'l Baha, this most remarkable expression of the will of one of the most remarkable figures of the dispensation of Baha'u'llah. It will, as its component parts, its organic institutions begin to function with efficiency and vigor, assert its claim and demonstrate its capacity to be regarded not only as the nucleus but the very pattern of the new world order destined to embrace in the fullness of time the whole of mankind." Dear friends, that was from The World Order of Baha'u'llah, page 144. Beloved Guardian further stresses the point that in the scripture of none of the religions of the past do we find any provisions establishing a covenant or providing for an administrative order that can compare in scope and authority with those that lie at the very basis of the Baha'i dispensation. The section goes on to explain the character and functions of the twin pillars that support this administrative structure, described by him as two fundamental organs of the will of Abdu'l Baha, and clarifies the relationship between the two. And dear friends, in the final pages of this section deal with the similarities and dissimilarities between this administrative order and the theory and practice of other systems of governance in the world. Dear friends, we'll share with you now some extracts from the Dispensation of Baha'u'llah. Our first extract is from page, let me just read, 154 to 155. Significant as are the origins of this mighty administrative structure, and however unique its features, the happenings that may be said to have heralded its birth and signalized the initial stage of its evolution seem no less remarkable. How striking, how edifying the contrast between the process of slow and steady consolidation that characterizes the growth of its infant strength and the devastating onrush of the forces of disintegration that are assailing the outworn institutions, both religious and secular, of present-day society. The vitality which the organic institutions of this great, this ever-expanding order so strongly exhibit, the obstacles which the high courage, the undaunted resolution of its administrators have already surmounted, the fire of an unquenchable enthusiasm that glows with undiminished fervor in the hearts of its itinerant teachers, the heights of self-sacrifice which its champion builders are now attaining, the breadth of vision, the confident hope, the creative joy, the inward peace, the uncompromising integrity, the exemplary discipline, the unyielding unity and solidarity which its stalwart defenders manifest, the degree to which its moving spirit has shown itself capable of assimilating the diversified elements within its pale, of cleansing them of all forms of prejudice and of fusing them with its own structure. These are evidences of a power which a disillusioned and sadly shaken society can ill afford to ignore. Compare these splendid manifestations of the spirit animating this vibrant body of the faith of Baha'u'llah with the cries and agony, the follies and vanities, the bitterness and prejudices, the wickedness and divisions of an ailing and chaotic world. Witness the fear that torments its leaders and paralyzes the actions of its blind and bewildered statesmen. How fierce the hatreds, how false the ambitions, how petty the pursuits, how deep rooted the suspicions of its peoples, how disquieting the lawlessness, the corruption, the unbelief that are eating into the vitals of a tottering civilization. Might not this process of steady deterioration, which is insidiously invading so many departments of human activity and thought, be regarded as a necessary accompaniment to the rise of this almighty arm of Baha'u'llah? Might we not look upon the momentous happenings which, in the course of the past 20 years, have so deeply agitated every continent of the earth as ominous signs simultaneously proclaiming the agonies of a disintegrating civilization and the birth pangs of that world order, that ark of human salvation that must needs arise upon its ruins. And again, dear friends, this was from the World Order of Baha'u'llah, pages 154 to 155.